Hi, my name is Durre Waseem, and today I'm going to give a demonstration of figurative painting in oils. Okay, here you go. So I hope you can all see the canvas and the reference photo. I have sketched with charcoal pencil. I have sketched figures here, and I will speak about the composition, which is very well taken on this photograph. Actually, since I took the photograph, I was more conscious of the composition. You can see a group of people, not right in the middle, but mostly on the right side. And why I picked them to to be on the right side is the action, and here the action is the sunlight and the shadows. So I want to take that dynamic, angle of the shadows that figures are making. In fact, we can only see one shadow, not of the first figure, but the second figure over here. And so we see the flow coming from the right toward the left. So I have left enough space in the left area for the eye to move around and settle more freely. So while I am giving demonstration, uh, even while I'm doing that, you are free to ask me questions, which I'm hoping would not be conversation, but quick questions. So here are my colors, which you can see. They are very like basic primary colors. Blue, um, on my arm also. Cobalt blue, ultramarine blue. Then I have alizarin crimson and burnt sienna, cadmium red, cadmium orange, transparent, and cadmium yellow. And I prefer titanium white. This is from the uh, dirty palette from yesterday. So I have zinc white and titanium white. Mostly use titanium white. Zinc white come handy when you are mixing, making uh, tones, and not you don't want the white to overpower much for subtle shading. When I now I'm going to start, and it is the same method that I use when I'm painting on location. I like to mix my darks and a warm kind of dark, which is ultra marine or even cobalt blue, with burnt sienna. I'm going to block in my dark. It is actually the flow of dark. I personally think a flow of dark that makes the composition, and the sparkling light adds the drama. So blocking in all the darker areas with very thin paint, using mostly solvent. I can use any kind of solvent. It can be the turpentine, or Gamsol. I do use Gamsol mostly because it is odorless, and majority of people can handle it. Otherwise, you do get to meet some artists who are somewhat allergic to turpentine. see more of it. The darks are formation of my um, floor or composition, and when I am filling in the dark, I am actually blocking the shapes, not being too mindful of what they are. Even my main subject, which are these figures, they are more like shapes. I like to leave canvas white for the highlights, although I'm working in oils, and unlike watercolor, oils are very forgiving, as we all know. But I like that sparkling canvas to show underneath my lighter tones. Whenever I'm painting and blocking in my darks or giving structure to the shapes, I'm thinking of either music or dance, which the dance is actually by the viewer eye. It should like flow with ease around this canvas surface. And the direction of strokes also help with that. And I start from the beginning to let my brush flow according to my composition. So I'm going to fill this dark on that figure. You may notice that I'm not actually painting my figures with all the details, but I am keeping in mind their gestures and their proportions. It is the combination of the gesture and this movement that is going to create that interesting motion for that visual motion. These might appear very my strokes might appear very casual, but I'm in my mind I am actually calculating and trying to work directly, like la prima. Even if I am putting layers, they are like a conscious effort. It's not random. Ah. There would be more darks here, and this will come different color, but all that goes dark. And this that's important. This foot is also important because it is giving a good like a good shape to my dog. Sometimes I am only looking at the shapes and not the actual things, and I have to make sure that I get all four legs of two people and not just three, or at least. So now I'm adding some color. That person in pink trouser, so a bit of red on the dark areas here. So in my, in my blocking in my dogs or the major shapes, I try to keep my values to minimum, like just the dark and middle a little lighter, and then we'll see the medium tone, and the end will be our highlights. You don't really have to copy your reference photo. It's just a reference. You may change it according to your compositional needs.
I thought it's finished.
So I sign it.
Sorry, Daisy, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay, so now I'm going to use a little white. I did use a little white somewhere, even telling you guys, but here is what I'm mixing. I like to mix some of my cooler grays, which is cobalt blue and alizarin, and then I put that on the side, and I also like to make some warmer gray in darker value with ultramarine blue, and what's the other one? Burnt sienna on the side, right? And the same way for my lights. So I may add these neutrals into my colors. And here, a bit of orange with titanium white. In this one, I have used zinc white. And in my highlights, I use titanium white. And I will put that on the side. And I also would like a little bit of glittering white, dirty, and yellow. Maybe a little bit more glittering. And this is the cooler kind of gray for my light areas. So these are four, like warm, dark, and cool dark, and warm, light, and cool light and warm, which I will be mixing in my colors as I go along. Well, this is something that I have started using now, and I noticed that it helps with keeping the harmony. You don't have to mix everything all together again. So now with my smaller brush, I'm going to carve out some details, like this other head that I see here, which I didn't realize was there when I was. Okay. I will keep the gesture of this figure. That's interesting. Blocking. Okay. Well, there are certain tools that I like to use. Palette knife and this scraper, rubber scraper. It's like my eraser. I can take out. This is really helpful. I can do a little cheating. And it can be any prod. It can be any product or tool with silicone. I also use this one, and then I have a baking silicone spreader that also works. Okay, I just realized I have 2 hours to do that. So now I have to see closely the drawing of the figures as I fill in the detail. Who is this guy sitting? He's important because the second fellow is adding that shadow. Do not finish. You're not doing any portrait. Keep that in mind. So they are just the shapes with their lovely gestures. Keep in mind the proportions. This method helps when you are painting outside, plein air. What happens is, it's actually, people ask me if it is easy. Well, they ask me if it is difficult to paint people outdoor. You don't have to like finish a figure. If this person goes away, there would be another one sitting there. So most of the time I have the torso of one figure and legs of the other. And then you can also look around and add. One thing that I would stress and emphasize a lot is figure drawing. If you are regular in your figure drawings, these addition of figures and imagination, that you can imagine figures and add them. I keep thinking, where is my reference photo? And I'm actually looking at the screen and looking at my own painting as it going there. Keep forgetting, here is the reference. I like to add this, like emphasize this color since it doesn't have that many colors, and I'm going to repeat it wherever I can. And in the background, I'll use the more alizarin red, and when I come in the foreground, I'll take cadmium red and add that. So it's good to paint overall instead of finishing one figure. That way it's easier to add that harmony in color and flow. This figure is in actually shadow. And
Durre, is it easier to paint from a reference? Yeah.
well, for years and years, I didn't paint for reference. Also because of the training that we had in our school in Pakistan, it was like a sin. So I never did that. And when I did, I tell you, it all depends on your intentions. If it is the shortcut you want to do, I will not recommend. But using reference actually teaches you a lot. It You get time to think and develop your composition in better way, and it actually develops your imagination too. When you are painting from life and you're outdoor painting, you don't get that much time. So I would actually recommend using reference, but not that often. Definitely it cannot replace outdoor painting, but I tell you, it's not a sin. And now I'm
No,
going.
my question was easier. Was it easier to do it
Uh,
from photograph or
I don't actually.
same?
It's the same thing. Uh, it is your own comfort thing. If you feel comfort in studio environment, then it's up to you. I personally love painting outdoor. I get more energy from moving figures. Um to me, I personally like painting outdoors more. About ease, I think it's the same.
Mhm. I can understand when you said it gives you energy when you're outside because the constant uh,
Movement and your
movement and the sense of change and with light and yeah, it's
right.
organic. It gives you that inherent energy to kind of go with that change that is happening outside. Interesting.
You are constantly connected with your subject there. You kind of interact the movement and all that. Here, at times, you may feel static. Well, it all again, you can if you uh, treat it like a portrait reference in your hand. Okay, maybe a bit more here. I will, like, yeah, this color that I see here, I'm going to use alizarin with the the better yellow would have been lemon yellow, but I'm trying to use minimum palette and cadmium with alizarin red. I am trying to get that the flow from right to left. They're all facing right and they are placed on right side. But it's a nice balance to have like nothing on the left, but that nothing includes the shadow, the dark shadow, uh, enhancing the light coming from. Right. So they are both equally important. The negative dark shapes on the left. Sometimes I randomly put the color here and there, and you may not see it in the reference photo, just to build that rhythm of color. It was a shipyard in Essex. So you can see the ships in the background. It was a beautiful sunlight. Actually, the entire week was really rough with the northeastern winds, and there was hardly any sun. And when the event ended, and it was the quick draw day, a beautiful sun came out. And this was the day of quick draw. After I did my quick draw, I did a couple of other paintings. I could not resist that beautiful sunlight. And I took a few photographs. I wish I had taken more photographs, but this was one of the. Again, from the reference photo, it's not necessary to match the colors. Just it's keep your attention to the values, which are going to help create interesting composition. And I may add a little bit of red here. So they say in oil, we go from dark to light, but I'm pretty loose in that, pretty relaxed in that rule. I may add darks in the end. My darkest dark I like to add in the end, just like my lightest light. Okay. Someone has a TV on. Either turn the TV off or mute yourself, please. Okay.
Hope it's not yours, Daisy.
No, I don't have anyone.
Wendy का on है शायद.
I think Wendy's mic is on.
I actually don't want to mute anyone because you're welcome to put any questions if there are.
Lekin you can mute Wendy right now. When she comes, she can.
Where is my cursor? Yeah. And it's really important to have a good memory. So if I take a break, I come back, I forget where I was working. Okay, I was on the face. Yes. Here, I've added cadmium orange, a tiny bit of cadmium red, and titanium white. And I will sometimes take more red. Oh, that's a lot. This is a beautiful red. Okay. And they're sitting in the sun, so faces are kind of red, which I like to add. Again, it's not necessary to take the same complexion. You have to see everything according to your composition needs. Figures are, as interesting as the chairs or as some animals on the field. Strokes, my strokes are going along with the form, and so this white shape, which I don't know if it is, I don't think, I thought, okay, that's the boat. That white shape is actually the negative area, right? Which is either the wall or the boat. It is going to bring out those dark figures. And we'll add the depth also. So your background has multiple functions. It not only functions as some negative area to cover, but also emphasize something in the foreground. So this boat has helped me carve out the face of that figure. And you can always correct the proportions later. So this light of the wall or the boat, whatever that white is helping me with the second figure. We all make use of the dark against light, and that's what I'm doing here. And no harm in adding some colors. I'm going to mix some blue so that it shows, the color shows not just the value, but the color also. Yeah, we can add this color here. Color is like, you can use color for entertainment. You can use color to add more interest at certain areas. So here, instead of ultramarine, I'm going to use cobalt blue, but blue it will be, to give a tiny bit of difference, to show this is not the same person. He won't like that I have made his tummy bulging out. But good that he's not watching. Okay. Oh, that's some secret to leave your highlights that you have missed. Unlike watercolor, we can fix it here. So I'm going to now let's cover our white canvas. That used to be the first goal, but I tend to ignore it. So as I go back, I have added more glycerin crimson, and I picked a little blue from their shirts. You may ask me anything, any question if you have any. One thing, again, I like to mention, remember the continuity also. If you are drawing a line or drawing some wall or some ledge that they are sitting on, make sure they all connect the same angle. Oh, this is light. This one is dark. Put dark shadow here. And dark shadow here. So I'm going to connect the darks. And then the hand, for which I am going to use a smaller brush for this figure's hand. Even if his leg is, well, no, his leg is not that straight, but if a figure is sitting with leg dead straight, you can add a little curve to that leg so that it doesn't look like log. So that's also one thing to be careful about. So a bit of warm shadows on the skin. I would like to add warm shadow here. Why do we get warm shadows? It's because something brighter shines onto our shadow. Skin is very interesting. It reflects back colors from around and light. Skin go dark. Now I'm going to make some nice orange for his hat. That's also nice addition of color. So orange hat here. Maybe more orange. And more red on this one. It is, I would suggest estimating or thinking ahead which direction you want to use your strokes. That also adds to the, that does add to the, helps with the flow of painting. Step back and see what I'm doing. Okay, I stepped back and I saw that maybe a tiny bit of light I'll add later. And it is shining here also. I have actually. Okay, so I will be emphasizing that light on my front figure. Absolutely no questions. I'm going to fill the ground first. There is actually no other reason but to get rid of the whites. So make sure you don't mess up in the direction of the shadows as I have, which I'm going to fix right now. All the shadows will have almost the same angle. In this case, they can be a little bit different depending on. Let me mark. Okay, here is this one. The major one is here. Then we see the other shoes. This is the shoe. So when you do details, that's how we do the details. Making sure you have 2 feet for one person. If it is hidden, then you justify that thing. I hope I'm not covering the view. This tool is so helpful. Wherever I'm lost, it carves my way and shows me my path. As you can see, I'm very dependent on it. I like to use palette knife also, and some bigger areas. the light areas like these that are like flat and bright, I like to use a knife, and I like to make it very flat, because if I show strokes, they take away the brilliance of uh, that that is, that area that I'm working on.
Hi, Durre.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so when you processing and doing that painting, are you constantly think about color temperature, like for example the foreground and from the little far away to the foreground, and you do have a color difference and temperature difference. You do think about all those all together, huh?
Right. I in the beginning, remember I did some grays, warms and lights, and I also made some little puddle of warm and lighter tones. So that's what I use. As I'm going back, I used, and I showed how alizarin. I use alizarin for my cooler lights, and also in my cooler grays. When I am working on the background, that's what I'm using more, the cooler tones. And as I come forward, I'm using more cadmium red and cadmium yellow. So the color and value might be the same, but the temperature would be different. Yes, I do keep that in mind. And thank you for asking that. That's something.
Thank you.
So she has her knee. Okay, I missed out her pose. Oh, it was one leg over the other. That's how she is sitting. And that's the other leg. So, yeah, we were here. I like that angle of some railing, which I can, oh, there is one railing here. Yeah, okay. And you can also correct the proportions, cut through your dots. I usually, when I block in, sometimes I exaggerate and make the shapes bigger, like its head here. And I'm not too concerned at this. I know that when I work on the background, I can go over the head and I can make it smaller. Oh, can you see me?
Are we supposed to?
I mean, my screen just went off white, so I thought my own screen.
Yes, it didn't interrupt.
Okay. Maybe the screen wants to tell me to look at this picture and not my own painting. Okay, so figure in the background. Well, I have not worked on this because as I was painting, I was also thinking if I should add that figure in the background or not. And now I have decided I will not. And if I am not going to paint it, what to do? I'll just pretend there's some kind of structure here. I'm not going to lose those marks that I had there. And I'm going to invent something instead. In my picture, there was maybe dark. My darks are, and there was this light figure in the background that was enhancing the dark back shape of this woman sitting here, which is fine. It didn't hurt much on my composition. I can create a backlit light on this one. You can make a little bit of changes, which is fine. And I will add the highlight here. Light of the face. Oh, I so want to leave this light here, but you didn't need to cover it. So giving detail to the figures and their gestures, their hands. I'm not making all the fingers, but it should look like a hand. Mostly it's the knuckles. When we paint the hands, we simplify the shape according to the two knuckles, 1, 2, and then you get the 4 fingers. And that's what and then we can emphasize more on the shadow wherever we want to. It doesn't have to be the detailed one, but enough to show the pose of this figure. And same with this one. So trying to get the rhythm of that light and shadow on that wall. Very beautiful, musical kind of pattern. Someplace we can have shadows with lost edges, and the immediate shadow of the leg will have more clear, sharp edge. Well, that's what you will notice when painting shadows. The shadow of near object tend to be more hard-edged, and the one from a distance will have more fuzzy edge. Shadow. Vertically, this plan. Edge of the plan. That he's resting his hand on. And then okay. Now the dark that I was mentioning that I will be using dark in the end is this one. You can, I was trying to emphasize the sludge. Those. And also thinking, why is it not getting? Because.
Can you hear me, Durre?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so your dark color, you most likely use the cobalt blue with the burnt sienna, right?
No, with burnt sienna, I use the other blue, ultramarine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. With cobalt blue, mostly I use alizarin But again, you can use either one of them. When I want my shadows to be cooler, I use cobalt with alizarin.
Okay. Thank you.
That's what I have used in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then, trying to get the pose right. Okay. What is this next one? Now I can go ahead and put more dark on the side.
Okay, Durre.
Yeah.
In the foreground, and you use the cabin red with the cobalt blue little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the ratio of cobalt blue might be different because I am using the already mixed.
Okay.
My already mixed colors.
Mm-hmm.
And so all that dark that I had mixed, I am going to use it here.
Excuse me, I saw the dark is very, very dark. You use the pure dark, right?
Is it too dark? Well, it's
no. I'm just saying very, very dark. Yeah, sometimes good and just up to you. You like
Yeah,
to.
well,
But I just say, what dark you use? You mixing all other color or just the pure?
For the warm dark, as I showed earlier, it's ultramarine blue with burnt sienna.
Oh, okay.
That's the darkest dark I have.
Oh,
In this
but
one,
yeah.
I used to be very much dependent on Prussian blue, and I still use it. But now I can even paint without it. That used to be my darkest dark. Used to be Prussian blue with cadmium red, and that actually makes very dark, very warm and deep dark. But sometimes it is so hard to handle it. So it's now finishing up. As I come toward my figures, I'm more careful in adding my... It is not finished, I'm just finishing up the floor or ground. Okay, the ground is kind of covered. And now we can do some major details here. Which is the highlight on their legs. When you flatten the surface, the light area, it becomes more vibrant. That's what I noticed. So that's why I started using knife. Now the highlights will bring the eye more toward the main figures. At this stage, if there's any question.
Hello.
Yes.
Durre?
Yeah.
It's very interesting for the figure, what the structure and sitting over there in that environment. But I still wondering, in what situation you get that picture? Actually, what they are doing over there?
Oh, as I said, it was our event in. It was from Cape Ann plein air painting event.
Oh, okay.
And this was the day we had our quick draw.
You mentioned that. You mentioned that.
Quick draw, which was over by this time, and they were just sitting there.
I can see the background. The background is in the has some house, right? And has some.
It's a shipyard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is the shipyard in Essex, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. Those is the artists waiting there, right?
No, they are not the artists. They are.
It's a tourist, a visitor.
Yes.
Okay.
They are. What you call it? The residents.
Oh, all right. Okay.
The turnover was good because it was a beautiful day. Before that, when we were painting for the event, it was very rough. I think that's why so many people came out to enjoy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the little story behind that is make the painting more interesting.
Yeah, I did tell the story. Were you not there?
Yeah, I over I mean, yeah, I do something else before coming. Okay. Thank you.
Sorry no, I did mention about the event. I painted after finishing the quick draw. I did another painting there, which is right now part of. It is part of oil paint. I think it is part of oil OPA in Georgia. Is it OPA or in? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Oil Painters of America show in Georgia. It is going on right now. So I did start that one. In fact, I almost finished it on location, and then I added some finishing touches here, which when I shared on the Facebook, someone said, "Oh, don't touch it, leave it there." I wouldn't mind leaving it there, but you have to kind of give a finish effect for if you in order to be accepted into the big shows. So the highlight on his pants. So when filling up these shapes that I had left, I have to make sure that the leg is fully aligned and also keep the structure of the leg in mind, the volume, the shape of the leg beneath the fabric. Same with the other one, the pink trouser. So I have to have the form of knee here and the leg. And then a little bit of highlight. It's a little too long. Could call it off. I think it is now done. Then we can work on the whites that we have left. Okay. In the background, I try not to show too many strokes and make it flat. You know, painting is all combination of combination and contrast of values and texture which include your strokes too. You can, I personally feel that you cannot have the same kind of texture throughout your painting. It would be like a, a wallpaper. It will become that boring kind. So texture and strokes are also part of your composition, and you should follow that. It should be even if painting with just palette knife, I like to give a variety of texture, juxtapose some flat ones with more thicker ones. Okay, that wasn't intentional. This red just mixed with my other colors. So make sure you mix your color well on your palette and then apply. Okay, and now the trees are just blobs here and there, and then we can put some sky. As I said, I don't mind adding, although I don't see that color here, but maybe repeat that tree color somewhere down there. Okay. And now I will add some sky. For sky, it's like more of cobalt blue, and I am adding the mixed of the green from the that green that I used for the trees. That's the color I'm going to use. Maybe more green from the same mix that I made for the trees. Sky is not too dramatic, it's very subtle, and that's what I want to add. As we go more toward the horizon, the sky tends to be lighter and it appears to have more depth. Maybe it's because of the contrast we have of the buildings in front. I'm pretty sure the color stays the same. I don't know. I'm not too good at science, but I don't know if the color of the sky changes or not. But visually, it appears to be lighter behind the buildings. And when you look up at the sky, it is more like deeper or darker or I don't know, near. It appears to be nearer to you. I think I'll do some research with this guy. Actually, is like what I'm sharing is only the visual experience. And about the direction for the sky, well, I'm just filling right now and using more horizontal direction. But if I see it disturbing, I might change to the angle. But it all coordinates with the structure or object in front of this gun. And again, the strokes of, or the direction of the strokes for the sky should go along with the other, the composition or the flow of the painting.
Oh, by the way, I like you use the knife to paint the sky. It's a kind of pretty good and effective.
Yeah, wherever I like to use flat, I want my strokes to be flat, I use knife.
Okay.
With brush, you get too much strokes.
Yeah, sometimes very easy to make dirty if you use the brush when you do the sky, because the sky making almost in the end of the painting. So yeah, the brush is dirty and the color is dirty. However, if you use the knife, could be avoid those problems.
Yeah, well, you can use new brush and it won't be dirty. But the reason I use brush is to make it more flat. And then you see, when you put the sky, you realize, oh, it doesn't matter. I thought that the background is too dark, but it is not too dark. I'm fine with it. And then you can some little shine on the roof. Now this shine I'm not even looking at my picture. It might be there or it might not be there. We add that deliberately. To repeat the colors of the sky into a painting. A little darker, the same color in a darker value for some of the areas. You know, all those areas, that white spots that are left, which might even appear very uninviting. These I cover with those colors, like the sky reflecting here. So I don't mind when those spots are left, then you can play with it later. Or sometimes I even would leave the spot as it is, just the white. So any question? I am pretty much done. You can give more detail and go even further with, you know, well, this one looks like a leg. I'm going to get rid of some part of it. Okay. Any question? Any comment? If any one of you was painting along, you can share. You can unmute yourself. After that, I will be overworking, I know that, as I usually do. No?
I'm for sure learning a lot because I've never done figure painting and I will always wanted to. But this is amazing. I mean, all the expressions that you have in the figures, and I always wondered how to give expression in the figures, but you know, you make it look so easy.
Yeah, the trick is not to say a lot, just what you see, and the more you add, it becomes more challenging.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Yeah, Durre is a very impressed for your skill and influence for the figure. You just put there very easy way, but it's a beautiful composition come with all the color and the value and everything. Just say, oh, it's an excellent demo. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I tell you, you will find it easier to, if you don't overdo it. Make it simple, and you can practice by doing some smaller sketches of minimal strokes and less colors. There is this. I feel that the more you see it, the more you want to work on it. Yeah, I think this had more dark in the background side. Got rid of it. That's it.
Well, Durre, I really enjoyed watching your approach and, you know, painting the dark shapes first and then coming back and
and putting enough detail on there to fill out the figure. I tend to go too much to detail at first.
Yeah, that's
And, yeah.
that's the, you know, that's where we tend to get confused and maybe lose less detail. It's really hard. If to break that habit of giving more detail is hard. It's not easy, but um, do I would say just do paintings, promising yourself not to put more detail, and you'll see that, you know, you would break that habit. I used to give much detail in the beginning when I was just learning, and I remember, especially in watercolor,
Yes.
I remember putting down the eyebrows and eyelashes also. I loved doing detailed eyes. I didn't care about other stuff, but the eyes would have all the details. And well, as you paint more, you come to realize that you have to focus on your message, and you know what, as they say, one liner. So keep that one line in your mind and stick to that. Other details, if you do add, it should, you know, help that line. If it is helping, add it. If it is not, it would be distracting. So simple is my trick.
Yeah, I have to
And
practice.
also the other trick is what I showed you, that spatula that take off, that works well as an eraser. I'm very excited about that because that spatula I started using not too long ago. So, girls, I stopped recording. Okay, you know what? I can put a bit more indication of this boat. That's what I'm going to work on. I can add that. It will give the idea of the place. It has the boat is actually also helping this figure. So I will be doing that. So this is going to bring out that shape as well. I can correct the pose or the posture. Okay. Like that. And also maybe give some break to that rod. And you can see this. maybe a little bit of drama on her. The wheel of the boat. And then some reflection of the sky. This is the most I can do of the boat. It better be convincing at this stage. Okay. I feel there should be a tiny indication of some darker division between the background and the middle ground. Okay, now that doesn't make sense. Sometimes those corners and angles, they are very disturbing, so you can always just blend them a little bit. I think it is not a... To be honest, I'm only killing the time since I notice it's not 2 hours yet. We can have any discussion or any question answers. I usually don't use a limited palette. I like to have all the blues, at least blues and yellows, but this time I only had 2 blues and I had only 1 yellow. I like to have both cadmium and lemon yellow with me. Lemon for cool and cadmium for warm. So when we talk of detail, these are the details that you can add. Very subtle. Gives a finished look. I would again say I'm done. You can put more.
What's your mixture for the bright and white?
Huh?
What have you used for this bright warm light? Is it white, titanium white?
Yeah, titanium white with cadmium yellow and a little bit of red, cadmium red. Oh, orange. I have orange also. Yeah, orange. Well, it was already mixed there, so I took a little bit of all, and I'm pretty sure it has cadmium red, cadmium orange, and cadmium yellow. And if you want to add more drama,
Durre, can you slide the reference picture more towards the painting you're doing so that we can see the edge also?
so well, just to add more drama, you can have more light in the background and emphasize the contrast. At some areas, you have to pick which area. Not you can't do it all through the painting, but these two gentlemen can be. Okay, and also I would like to have little light on his hat. You're also welcome to point out if you don't agree with anything. I think that's it. And very light. Even if when you're putting your strokes very calculated way, it on the painting it should show as effortless. I learned that from what was that watercolor painter, Charles Reed, and in fact that was my first exposure to Western artist, living Western artist, and for us he was just a god for watercolor painting. It was later on I came to know that his paintings are not done as quickly as they appear to be, but very calculated and time. He takes time painting them.
I think not everyone can think that quickly either. Like for myself, I do think I need to think about a painting. It's very rarely that, I can be very fast at it. If that makes sense.
Oh, the voice was.
The whole part of brain that is working, some people use the faster part of brain more, and some might use the more calculated side of things.
Well, no, what I mean to say is you should be careful, and your strokes should be calculated and carefully put down, but it is not for the viewers.
Yes, I get that. Yes.
It should appear to be more spontaneous, even if they are not. That adds energy to your work.
That's so right, actually.
I actually used to use I used to be very quick with my paintings because I had that wrong notion that the quicker is also the better, which is not true. You may take as long as you want. The thing is the end product. I had to unlearn so many things to start learning now. Yeah, now the pose is kind of more, you can see the pose more. It looks more convincing. That's, I think, I'm thinking this is it.
Beautiful.
Well, since we had a few more minutes, I don't want to overdo. Here I am done. Now it is done.
Great job. Amazing.
Thank you so much. When looking, we highly recommend to look from the distance. In fact, not just to look from the distance, just go away from your painting and then come back later. Then you will see more. Maybe this light here. The angle is interesting. So it's no harm in adding. But here it is. See, when you apply wet on wet, then it doesn't take the light. Okay, I did. Now we can take away. Okay. So this is it, and if you want to paint something and share with me, you're welcome to do so. You can email it. And I will be doing those demos more in the coming week. So you're welcome to join me again.